So it's another beautiful Saturday. If it's a beautiful Saturday, then you know what time it is. Another episode of the Steady Abroad podcast with the Fred Effect. So what we do here on the Steady Abroad podcast is to invite people who have studied in the countries, the universities, are enjoying the scholarships that you intend to apply to. They will share their experience, their journey, how much they spent on the process, how long it took them, and how they were able to land those scholarships that you're aiming to apply to. This will help you understand how the process work and also the do's and don'ts, the mistakes they made, so that you don't make similar mistakes. The name is the Fred Effect, and I'm here with my co-host Ben. Hi Ben, how are you doing?
Hi, Fred. I'm good, and you?
Another introduction to our viewers. You were on the other time, but now let's. If there are new people watching us, please introduce yourself.
Oh, okay. So my name is Ben, and I'm currently in UK, precisely Derby, but I'm doing my second master's at Nottingham Trent University. So I'm doing MSc Public Policy at the moment, and I have just about 2 months to graduate.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
Our guest is Yvette. Hi Yvette, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
So, I and Yvette were in the same university back in Ohio University, and very intelligent lady, especially with how she writes. I admire her a lot. I decided to invite her on the Study Abroad podcast so that she shares her experience with us. So, use Swahili to tell Kenyans to tune in. How are you going to say that?
Tafadhalini. Okay, so the thing is, as Kenyans, our
Okay.
Swahili is Swahili English. So
Okay.
simply, I'll just say tafadhalini to join. Kujeni, mstream, mtuone tukiongea. It's going to be an insightful talk. So yeah, karibuni. So it's like a mix of English and
Yeah.
Swahili.
All
And
right.
I
So
think Tanzanians will come, for me on this, but yeah.
awesome. So if you are watching us, we have been able to do it. Ben is in the UK, Yvette is in the US, the Fred Yvette is in the US, and we've been able to do it. It means you can also do it. And we are going to explain to you how she did it, and now you can also learn from it. If you're just tuning in, remember you can be part of the conversation. You send us your questions in the chat. We'll be happy to read them and provide answers to the best of our knowledge. Also, if you're tuning in on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, on TikTok, please click on the like button, follow so that you automatically join the draw, which we have at the end of the session. Ben, can you kick us, get us going?
All right. So, thank you once again for tuning in. This is Fred Yvette, and we try as much as possible to give all the necessary information that you may need to assist you through the process. And please, if you're already in your dream country, like let's say if you're already in US, don't say that is okay. There might still be information that you might not know. So let's all try as much as possible to participate in this episode, and I think it's going to really help us. So today we have here Yvette from Kenya to USA. So we are coming to learn from her, and we will try as much as possible to cite all the information that will be very important to our listeners. So Yvette, today we don't want you to hide anything, okay?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
try and then let the information flow.
Yes.
All right. So quickly, can you give a short introduction so that our viewers will know who you actually is?
Yeah. So my name again is Yvette. Yvette Onyango. I am born and raised in Kenya, but I currently live in the US. Precisely Columbus, Ohio. So fun fact, I can say a fun fact about me. I have one kitty cat. I was not a cat person, but now I have a kitty cat who is only, loving towards me and my fiance, but she's mean to everybody else. So that's a fun fact about me. But generally, that's all.
Awesome. So, talk to us. Which institution did you graduate from in Kenya, and what was your academic qualification prior to applying to institutions in the US?
So in Kenya, I went to a university called Technical University of Mombasa. So I did a BS in civil engineering, a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering, and then I graduated with a second class upper.
Awesome. And what? Because I know you studied international development studies, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And you had a civil. This is new to me. I never knew that. So, why did you have a civil engineering background but apply to international development studies?
So I would say when I was younger, this is something my mom even kept telling me. I'm a very empathetical person, and I remember when I was younger, my mom kept telling me every time I would stop by someone with, a person of disability, I would stop and cry and even, like try and, just help them wherever I can. So growing up, I wanted to work with underserved people. I wanted to, my dream job was working in the United Nations. So the only way I could do that is kind of, do some development work. So I researched, and there was the development practitioner. If I wanted to be a development practitioner, then I would need to study something with development. So my uncle, who's then based in, he's still living in Ohio. He studied in Ohio University, and he kind of talked to me about the idea, my family and I. But at that particular point in time, it was very difficult. That 2018, I just lost my brother, and I didn't want to, leave my family and, travel miles away to come to the US. But after he talked to me and my parents, I was like, okay, let me just try my luck. And if I want to do this, I want to do something that I'm really passionate about. So I went and did international development studies.
So, applying to international development studies at Ohio University, was it the only university you applied to, or you applied to other universities as well?
It was the only university I applied to
Well,
because I didn't want to move to the US
mhm.
at that particular point in time. So I was practically just doing it for the sake of just doing it. Like, if it was God's will, then I will go. But if it wasn't God's will, then I'll stay. Like, I was 50-50 about the whole idea. So I wasn't really really looking into moving out outside Kenya at that particular point in time. So
Right.
that's the only one I applied to.
Interesting. And you happen to get in, get admission, get scholarship, and eventually you got the visa too. So, where are you currently studying? Since you started with Ohio University, but where are you currently studying?
So right now I'm currently at Ohio State University. So they're different. Ohio University in Athens, Ohio State University in Columbus.
Yeah. And,
So
and and this confuses a lot of people. So we'll be
yes.
sharing our screen and then show people how it is. Ohio University is about 1 hour, 30 minutes drive to Ohio State University. And Ohio State is located in the capital of Ohio, which is Columbus. And
Mhm.
Ohio University is in Athens, Ohio, which is in the Athens County. So we'll be sharing our screen and then we'll show people some of these universities that you apply to. Ben, if you can come in.
Yes, so I'm sorry you had a bad start for losing your brother and that kind of difficult moment. So the
Okay.
question is, why is it that at that still critical stage you
Mhm.
decided to move? What pushed you?
What pushed me was I am very faith-based. Like, most of the things I do, I usually try to actually really think about it, and I have faith. If it's
Yeah.
meant to be, then it's meant to be. If it's not, it's not. So at that particular point in time, when my uncle was talking to us about these opportunities of coming to study abroad, I was at first, like I said, I was skeptical. I didn't want to move, but I told, like, something just in me told me, just try your luck.
Mhm.
Again, if it is meant to be, fine. If it's not, so when I started the process, he was the one who was actually doing a lot of those things. Be like, have you done TOEFL? You should go do TOEFL. have you done this? You should do this. I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. And I was working also. I was working in Kenya. So I was just like, just going with the flow until I got the admission from OU. I was like, oh, so this is happening. So I started getting serious about it. Like, okay, if this is happening, then like I prayed, if it was meant to be, it was meant to be. And now that things are working out, I'm just going to be. Now I'll start pushing myself. And then I got a lot of help from my parents as well and my siblings. So yeah, it was just a combination of the support that I had. And now I started looking at the trajectory of my life. If I moved abroad, then things would be different. So that was the push that had me going.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. So, Yvette is telling us that even though there were many factors, but the faith base as
Mhm.
well as the family support really pushed her. Thank you so much for sharing with us. So the question is, we have about 6 continents: Europe, Asia, Africa,
Mhm.
US, Australia. But why did you decide to go to US?
I decided to go to the US just because I had family there. Like it's very like moving is hard, especially moving away from your nuclear family. It's really hard. And I just said, because I have some family members around that area, in the US, I'll just try and focus on the US.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
Let's share the website of the universities Yvette applied to, and
Mhm.
then people can also learn from it. So normally, some universities, if you never mention them, people will not know. So this is the website of OSU, which is Ohio State University. Yvette, there was this argument of which is better, Ohio State University. You have been to both. Tell us which one. Don't
Well,
be biased, please.
okay, I'm not gonna be biased. It depends.
Mm-hmm.
It depends. So it depends with, are you someone who wants to be away from the city?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want a small town community? Do you want to hike all through, So if
Yeah,
you're that kind of a person, then Ohio University is better. In terms, OSU is more or less like, you know, big city,
big
trying
city
to
vibe.
navigate,
Yeah,
the highways and all. But in terms of education and community support, I think both of them are good if you want to study at either of them. I
mm,
met a really good community in Ohio University, and Fred, you can attest to that. That's
yeah,
where we met, and there was so many Africans together.
yeah.
There's that community. But in OSU, there's not a whole lot of African community. So you just have to find your community within your department.
Right.
So you can, associate with other people too.
Yeah. This is the website. If you're watching us and this is the first time you're hearing, this is Ohio State University website. So you take your pens and papers, you'll be writing things down so that after the session you can go search for these universities. And you mentioned that you already had a master's degree in this university and
Yeah.
now you're having your PhD. What was the master's degree in?
Environmental engineering.
And was this fully funded?
Yes.
And then you're doing a PhD in environmental engineering at the same time?
No, so I moved departments. So right now I'm trying to combine both the ideas that I had,
Mhm.
international development studies and environmental engineering. So the only department that could, look at that and
Yeah.
accept and give me funding for it was food, agriculture, and biological engineering. That's a shout out to that department. It is, tackling and humanitarian engineering,
I
there's
see.
sustainability, programs around that department. So yeah, it's very welcoming to the kind of work that humanitarian engineering, or humanitarian engineers want to do, or sustainability engineers want to do. So that's where I'm situated now.
All right, so this is the green campus of Ohio. I am biased because this is the green campus of Ohio University. It's more. It feels like home to me anytime I visit the website or I talk to anybody there. Talk to us about Ohio University and what did you study here?
So at Ohio, I did my master's in international development studies. Like I said, I wanted to work, with the UN, United Nations, and Ohio University has really good international programs, like programs for internationals as a whole.
Yeah.
So yeah, and OU Bobcat for life. So,
Yeah. So if you're just listening to us, there's a difference between Ohio State University and Ohio University. If you want to apply to any of these universities, amazing programs, Ohio is a great place to be, and you should definitely check out these universities. I know you might have applied to other universities whilst you wanted to do the second master's and the PhD. Hopefully, we'll talk. You didn't apply to any school at all?
I only applied to Ohio State.
So then you have something we don't know. So when you were in Kenya, you applied to only Ohio University.
Yeah,
Now when you graduated from Ohio University, you applied to only Ohio State.
yeah, Ohio State. Yeah.
And for your PhD, you also applied to only Ohio State.
Yes.
What is it about you that you don't get denials?
Honestly, I don't know. Like I said, I'm very faith based. And they don't come like the denials. I wouldn't say it was easy because I remember when I was applying to OSU for my master's in environmental engineering,
Mm.
all my friends, remember Bernard?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
all my
Shout out to Ben, man.
friends,
For
yeah.
real.
All my friends actually got admission.
Yeah.
They got their decisions earlier. And I remember we applied, you know how you apply like in November the year before, and then in March they start, decision starts coming in.
Mhm.
I remember I stayed the whole of January, February, March, April. Like I didn't have any, I was just crying and praying. Like that was part of my life where I was just praying. I was like, God, if you don't give this to me, then
And at that stage, did you regret only applying to one university?
at some point, yes. And like I said, you don't have to, expand your horizon.
Mhm.
That's what I would say. Like at some point, I was like, why did I not even apply to OU?
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're there.
Because I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just don't know. So sometimes it's just the conviction of some other force pushing you because I never saw myself continuing in Ohio University.
That's
I
true.
wanted to move out and I wanted to now try something new.
Yeah.
Environmental engineering for OSU, I really wanted to be there. So
Yeah.
it is just about a matter of passion and what's driving you, and that's what drove me there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And normally, if you are an African student or international student and you are in OU, what happens is that you might probably touch base in Columbus before you get to Athens, right?
Yes.
So from time to time, going to get groceries, African stuff, you go to Columbus. So probably you are more people in Athens go to Columbus more. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? Rather
Yeah.
than being in Columbus and wanting to go to Athens.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ben, if you can continue.
Yeah, those of us in UK, when you are speaking Columbus, Athens, then we get confused. Okay, so I'm interested in you mentioning passion.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know, did you derive that passion from childhood? We have some people that if they say they want to pursue engineering,
Mm-hmm.
that is it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that your case? Or along that line, you needed to make some changes in your interest and passion?
So I remember when I was in high school, I don't know if you guys had Form 1, Form 2, Form 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember Form 2 heading to Form 3 is when we were picking what we wanted to do for our KCSE exams, final exams for you to graduate from high school. And I remember talking to myself, like I didn't even involve anyone in this. I remember I was just talking to myself about what do I want to do, you know? So I remember my uncle was was a civil engineer. He's the one who actually drove this because I used to see him with like the structural plans, like those drawing plans, and I would just watch him do all this, and it fascinated me. And I said in Form 3, I was gonna pick science subjects so that I can pursue what I wanted, which is civil engineering. So that passion started right in high school, and I was very adamant this is what I wanted to do. So I just kept going. Even after I graduated high school, there was a lot of talks about women cannot do civil engineering, or they can, but it's not going to be um, good for them, majorly because it's like men, it's a man's world or it's a man's career. But that didn't, like stop me. I just went for it.
Okay. Thank you so much. So what should our viewers take from us? Should we always pursue our passion,
Mm-hmm.
or if we can be a little bit flexible, it will help, especially in the case of studying abroad?
Mm. That's a good question. And I think it's a mixture of both. Because remember, I also switched from engineering to international development studies because I had another, idea of what I wanted to do. So it's passion definitely drives it. And
Okay.
sometimes, like I said, faith-based, sometimes God wants you at a particular, point in life or for a particular career in life. So you just have to be very open-minded. I carry this a lot. Being open-minded is it helps. So look at your passion, what you can do, in general, and then try and find something, any career path you want from all the things that you think you can do, and then apply to those schools that can, support your dream. So I would say, yeah, a mixture of both.
All
I, I
right.
I love the International Development Studies program. And if you're watching us, you can check it out. There were a lot of Africans in there. We had some classes together, even though I wasn't in that program and
Mhm.
all that. So I am happy to, because the people I know that were pursuing that program had different backgrounds. And it's interesting you're telling me you had a civil engineering background and then you came into the International Development Studies program,
Yeah.
which is to say that you do not necessarily have to have a background in a certain field before you apply. So, for example, the fact that you have a bachelor's in mathematics does not necessarily mean that you can only apply to masters in mathematics,
Mhm.
right? You can switch to different fields and all that. And
Yeah.
and happy to hear that. So let's talk about your scholarship. We'll start with the current PhD you have in. Did it automatically come with your admission? Did you have to apply separately for it, or you maybe had an interview for it? How did it go for you?
So for my PhD, because it was easier because I was in OSU.
Hmm.
If we can talk about the masters later on, I can
Yeah,
can share that also. But for the PhD, I just graduated. Um, okay, I didn't graduate first because you apply before graduation, of
yeah,
course. So I started talking to a lot of professors, and I remember telling my professor he was really willing to like continue with me,
hmm,
but I because I was doing a lot, going to the field, doing a lot of flux measurements, carbon emissions, like it
yeah,
was a lot of scientific work, which I really enjoyed. But again, remember, I had a passion, I
yeah.
wanted to do something, I wanted to pursue something else. And I talked to him and I said, is there a way I can be able to, do something with development? And he
Mhm.
said like all the grants, the amount of money that he has, it's solely for the projects, the carbon emission projects. So he told me he can't really help me with that. So I started now talking to professors, like writing emails, and that's where the rejection comes.
Yeah.
So there's so many people like from my department because I wanted to do environmental work
Hmm.
in the development space. So of course, environmental engineering department, which is CGE, like it's civil environmental geodetic engineering. But I was just focusing on environmental engineering. So that's why I said if I talk to faculty members, probably there's going to be one person who can accommodate me. Unfortunately, there aren't. So I kept getting rejections and after rejections. And I was like, I will still go on. I remember I still went on and on. And I at some point I was like, oh, let me just stay. It's gonna be fun,
Yeah.
fine. I already know this professor, And then he comes and tells me he lost the grant money that he was supposed to, you know.
Yeah.
So I was completely, I was like, oh my goodness. So I do not have anywhere else to go. So the only way I can actually get to what I want, because I had two options. Sometimes you can be super desperate and
Mhm.
actually go for just anything to, you understand, like as
Yeah.
international students, you're like,
Yeah.
probably I should just apply for something else as long as there's funding. But I
Yeah.
told myself I'm not going to do that. He actually even gave me an option to go to Louisiana. Um,
Okay.
yeah, Louisiana University, but I was like, I don't know. No, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna
Be
keep
here.
looking for faculty members. So I emailed. Emailed. I was emailing people, rejections, some don't, answer until one particular professor, like I'm eternally grateful to her. She emailed back and she said, "Yvette, I don't think I, can help you in this, but I know of another professor and I met him somewhere, conferences. His name is so and so. Just go and, talk to him." So I went and talked to this professor, emailed them, and they were like, "Oh my goodness, we have been looking for someone who wants to do this." Yes. That was how I was like, and they were very excited. They were like, "Oh, can we meet? Let's talk about this." So I met them. There were two professors. I met them, we talked, and they were very excited. And they said, "There's gonna be funding. I shouldn't be worried about that." So I applied knowing that I was gonna get funding. So that was all before the application. Then after I applied, it just came with the funding right away.
Awesome. Awesome. Ben, you want to come in?
One thing about this podcast is that everyone has a unique story.
Yeah.
And I think today we have heard another interesting story that even to look for a professor who is willing to sponsor you wasn't easy, but
Mm-hmm.
she didn't give up. She kept on sending emails, even though upon rejections, and finally she got one. And this is what we have been always telling people, that giving up is not an option.
No, no.
You get a point. So as you keep on trying, as in the case of Yvette, I'm sure you're going to one day,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to find your way out.
Yeah.
Thank
But
you
the
so much
master's one
for
was, yeah, the master's one, when I was applying to OSU from OU, that one it tested my boundaries, I'm not gonna lie. Because I remember I applied to this professor. I wanted to really work in this department to this particular professor. He actually went and got other people. Because professors choose who they want to work with, right? So my then professor, who I was working with, he's the one who said, "Oh, I saw your application somewhere, but I had already chosen other people, but I'm really interested in working with you. But unfortunately, you'd have to defer. If you want funding, you'd have to defer till next year because I've already chosen people." And then he said, "But let's wait and see, because two of the people that I chose, they have not yet, accepted the admission. So let's wait and see." So I was like, oh my goodness. So I've gotten the admission, into OSU, but there's no funding and it's very expensive. School fees, tuition, it's very, very expensive. So I said, you know, thank God I got the admission, but I am now praying another prayer. Let this person not accept. Like, I was conflicted because I don't want to wish someone else bad, But I just said, you know what, God, if it's your will, yeah, if I'm meant to go back to Kenya and do something else, or if I'm meant to do something else, then that's fine. He emails me and he says, "Well, one person has accepted the admission, so unfortunately, I don't think this is looking good for you." Then he said, "But there's some fellowship that you can apply to. But the unfortunate bit is, if you're not American, probably they might not consider you."
Oh,
I said, "That's fine. Let me just apply. Like, just give me anything I can." So I applied, and I remember one day, one time, I was so discouraged because people were starting now to get to meet their prophet, go to orientation, and I was just there. And I remember one time I was sleeping on my couch. I was so, yeah, I was so discouraged. And I woke up around 3 a.m. to go to bed, and I was like, oh gosh, this is crazy. I'm now feeling depressed. Why did I not apply to OU? Then I took my phone. You know how you can just look at your updates. And then I saw an email from my professor he said, I don't know how this has happened, but one person did not accept the admission, so the funding is yours. I was like,
Uh,
oh my God. And then, like, literally 2 days later, he said, oh my goodness, you actually even have the fellowship. They actually chose you. I was like, oh, wow. So, again, delay is not denial. That's what I can definitely say.
we are rewinding a little bit. Ohio University, how did the funding go? And you tell us about that. Then we come to your visa interview, how you got it approved in Kenya.
Okay. Ohio University. I don't know, Fred, do you have TA ship or GA
It
ship?
was later on.
It was that
It was later on that the TA came.
later on.
Yeah.
You also joined with
Oh,
GRS.
initially, yes.
Yes. So I don't even remember what GRS was. Graduate.
There's a graduate recruitment scholarship.
Oh.
It's been years, right? So graduate recruitment scholarship was like a partial scholarship. So like a 50% taking part of your tuition and paying you like, a little bit stipend. And so
Absolutely.
I am interested in getting this partial scholarship. How
Mm,
did you manage to get a visa approved? Because the argument has always been that people should get full scholarship before they can get a visa approved. Your
mm.
case was different. How did it go for you in terms of the interview?
My interview was also rough. It was really, really, because I remember I got a yellow. It, yellow is like, we have not denied you, but you haven't accepted it.
Oh, okay. So that's like administrative processing or something.
Yeah, it's like, wait, let's do research on other things first, and then we'll get.
Oh, okay.
So mine was a yellow sheet of paper. It was, and I remember I went in there. I was like, with all these documents. You know how you carry your bank statement. I carried everything with me.
Mm,
When I got there, they didn't ask me for anything. They just asked me, so you went to, and I remember I just traveled to Egypt
right.
with my friend. Um, with my best friend, and we just traveled to Egypt, and for vacation, and we just came back. And so they looked at my passport and they said, oh, so you traveled to Egypt? I said yes. And then he said, and you studied civil engineering in Mombasa? I said yes. And they're like, oh, okay, here. And they gave me a yellow sheet of paper and they told me to wait. And I asked, are you not gonna I have all these documents here, are you not gonna ask any any of them? And they said no. Yeah, no. And I said, okay, so when am I, because I started being asking them questions. I'm like, when are you going to give me a decision? It's like, oh, just wait. And I left. And so I was just waiting the whole time, just waiting, just waiting. And I was like, should I go back to work? I waited for almost a month.
Okay.
Yes, I waited for almost a month. And people had started going back, going to school. Orientation was over. Classes were starting. Because I remember it was, classes always start second week of August. So second week of August, I still did not have my my approval. And then third week of August is when they were like, oh, you should come for your passport. Your visa's been approved. And you should actually come for it tomorrow so that you leave the country. I was like, oh, okay. So I get there. I get there. They still didn't have it. I said, oh, you are told that it was approved? I said, yes. I said, it's not been processed yet.
Oh
Processed
my
yet.
God.
Come back tomorrow. I was like, what in the devil is this? Oh gosh. And it was so crazy, but I mean, I remained faithful. I just kept praying about it. And I remember most of my family members, because you start floating the idea, right? And
Okay.
most of some of the people that I talked to, they kept telling me, "Oh, Yvette, people don't really get these things. It's really hard. Don't usijisumbue." Usijisumbue in Swahili means don't disturb yourself. But in my mind, I was like, no, 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 no. I will until God tells me no. Then that's when I'll stop. So I just kept going, kept going, kept going. And I remember the phone call came when I was just, again, it always comes at your lowest point, right? And I remember I was just sleeping and my phone was charging somewhere in the living room. And then a number was calling me. And my sister actually brought the phone to me and she answered it, my younger sister. And I was like, why would you answer my phone? Like, she answered it and I looked at the phone. I was like, oh, this is wrong number, because how can just a random number tell me it's a visa officer and they're telling me to go for my visa? I was like, no. And I ended the call. And I told my sister, like, why would you answer my call? Like, why? Why would you answer my calls? And this is typically it's a wrong number. And then they called again. And I said, yes. It's like, oh, you applied. I said, yes. I thought it was a scam. It's like, yeah, I applied. So, I was just being like, ah. And then they said, yeah, you should come for your visa. It's been approved. Come for it tomorrow.
Wow.
So yeah, it's very, very interesting story.
Yeah, I think you have a unique story. So, to our Kenyan friends who are about to go for their visa interview for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
how would you explain the tension in the
Whoa.
visa room, or what advice can you give to them regards to the visa interview preparation?
Honestly, I would say, because things are changing, of course, because of the current administration and all. But I went for mine in 2020, I remember. And I remember standing there thinking that I was gonna get it, because of course, I have all the documents. I have everything. Like there's no point of them denying me. I had the admission letter. I had emails from, like, I had everything, and I was going there with surety that I was gonna get it. Until I did not get it at first. They gave me a waiting. So it just kind of humbled me in a way. So I would say, when you go there, go with expectations that you're gonna get it, but also go with expectations that if it's God's will, you know,
Okay.
you can you can
Okay.
use it, and then you get
So,
humbled real.
yeah, so you want to say we should be 50-50, right?
I
The
would
visa
say, I don't want to say 50. And remember, when I'm saying 50-50, it's not meant to be like, oh, don't be 100%. No, go with 100% surety that I can do this. Be yourself and go there, talk your truth, and then, but have this other notion that if it's God's will, if this is where I'm meant to be, then, because that will aid you in the stress. Because I remember, hey, if you miss it, if you get I think it's a blue card. If you no, pink is denial. Yo, you walk out there feeling, I don't know. It's just, yeah. So, yeah, for mental health strength.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Ah.
Good. That was a nice one. So now,
Mm,
you said you traveled to Egypt.
mm.
Was it intentional just to prove to the visa officers that you have traveling history?
No, it was
Okay.
not intentional at all. That was um a trip that I think it came. I think we were talking about it before I traveled, because I remember I traveled in 20. I think, yeah, I think I traveled in 2020, if I'm not wrong. And that was, I actually was able to travel to Egypt because I just got my passport because I was applying for school, you know.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
going to Egypt was like, oh, I have a passport. Let me, you know.
Oh, okay.
And then later
Yeah.
when we realized that if you travel out, if you travel outside the country, it can help boost your chances of acceptance. So I
Oh,
didn't know that was very like I later on knew, but I didn't know then when I was going
okay.
to Egypt.
All right. That's nice one. So now let's quickly jump into the admission.
Mhm.
How much did it cost you during your application?
So there's a lot of things, There's TOEFL depending on the degree or career you're pursuing or course that you're pursuing. So mine, they required that I have TOEFL, test of English. I remember that was
Is it
about.
because you're from Kenya? Because I thought like if you're from an English speaking country, you might not need that.
I think because Swahili is also the national language,
Oh, okay.
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 So
So
there's the official language, which is English, but the national language is Swahili. So
oh,
they
okay.
want to know like how good you are with English.
So
So
are your transcripts in Swahili or in English?
no English.
Okay. Okay. But
Mm.
but do you know if everybody applying to a university in the US from Kenya have
Mhm.
to write the TOEFL or IELTS?
A lot of the people that I know did the TOEFL, the test
Okay.
of English. Yeah.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
think it's also because if they want to give you a teaching assistantship,
Hmm.
they want to see that you can, teach well. So they look at TOEFL, they look at um OPA. I don't know what OPA. I don't
I know
remember.
for some reason all Kenyans that I know speak very good English.
Mm.
Yeah, that's like I for some reason.
Yeah, because so we all our subjects are in English in
Yeah.
school, and we have Swahili as as its own, but we are taught in English. Mm.
Do you think there is an accent with a Kenyan English? It's very hard for me to tell. Like the first day I saw you, I couldn't tell you're from Kenya.
Really, you
Yeah,
thought
I
I was
did.
from?
I didn't know. For some reason, I didn't know you're from Kenya.
You thought it was just someone from just some place in Africa.
No, like a Ghanaian or a Nigerian,
Yeah.
after they speak, it's easy to tell.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like the accent, you can easily tell. Do you easily identify a fellow Kenyan?
Probably how their English is slower.
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. I know. I know you guys speak very slow. That was. Shout out to Bernard. Bernard speaks so
I knew
slow.
you would say Bernard. I knew it. No, Bernard. No, Bernard. He's his because he's a teacher. He's professionally a teacher. So
Right.
teachers tend to speak slower.
Yeah. I met a friend in Massachusetts. I've
Mhm.
forgotten his name, but he also speaks so gentle and slow.
Yeah,
Like looks like he's dozing off or something like that.
losing off. But what I know is because our Swahili is we have like tunasema, like we say. So we don't say tunasema, it's
Oh, okay.
tunasema. So we tend to actually stress, I don't know how to
Syllables.
call them, syllables, yeah.
Yeah.
So if I'm speaking English, it kind of naturally just flows from the Swahili in me. So I
So
don't know
the
if
thing
I have
to
an
note is that
accent.
if anybody speaks slow, the person is a Kenyan, right?
No, not really. No, not really that. Because there's other people who talk fast. But I don't know if I have an accent, honestly. But yes, you're right. I can tell if someone's from Nigeria or Ghana or
Yeah.
or South Africa, but I don't know. Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Ben, you want to come in?
Yes, I wanted to know the admission process,
Yeah.
the cost involved, and
Mhm.
Yeah. So you
Okay.
yeah,
said you write the TOEFL. That's why I came in. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, so there's TOEFL. Remember when I was applying for OU, I
Yeah.
wasn't really like my uncle was the one who was like, what is happening with this girl? You need to do this. So you need TOEFL, you need. I was just going with the flow. I
Mm,
remember TOEFL was around that time, maybe $180 or $200. I cannot
yeah.
remember. clearly. But in Kenya shillings, I think that time was 20K, 20
Mm,
20,000 Kenya shillings. That's like roughly then $180 to $200.
I see.
And then the admission, the application fee, I think it was $80. Fred, do you remember?
The application was like 50, 50, 55.
50, 55?
Like
Okay.
application to OU, right?
Yes, to
Yeah,
OU.
it was supposed to be
Oh,
55 or 50.
okay. The OSU one was 85 then.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I remember. So 50, 55 for OU.
Yeah,
So I kind of spent like almost $300
I
just
see.
for the application.
Yeah. And the scholarship, the GRS scholarship came automatically with the admission.
So no, the admission came first, and
Mm-hmm.
then they said, we are considering other, like financial. We'll let you know if we get any financial assistance for you. And
Okay.
then when I got GRS, I remember I was happy that I
Mm,
got GRS because I didn't know it was.
yeah.
I knew it was some partial funding, but if you look at the at the I-20 and you're like, this amount, you're fixated on this amount of money that they're going to give you. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And I remember when I realized it was partial and I needed to pay at that almost $1,000 every month. I went out and cried outside Thompson Library. I was like, why
Oh, so
would my
you
auntie
realized that
get me to this?
you realized that when you got to the university.
Yeah,
Okay.
because he didn't clearly state it. I think he knew if he stated it, my parents probably would be like, no, you
I
know.
see.
But when I got there, and I remember I saw, when you open the portal and they're like, oh, you need to pay 900. I remember it was 987 or something. I said, where am I going to get all that money? So I called him. It's like, why did you subject me to this? Where am I going to get this money from?
Yeah.
He said, you should work. I remember calling my mom and my dad crying outside the library on fourth floor.
Yeah.
I was crying, and my parents were like, my dad was like, oh, it's okay. Why would he subject you to this? My mom was like, wipe your tears. What are you doing? Go work. Do you want to come back home and get paid and get paid the amount of money you're getting paid?
So how long did it take you after your bachelor's degree to work on this process? Is it a year, two? How long did it take you?
So I graduated in 2018, and then I started the application in 2018.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I see.
So I worked only for, what did I say? Yeah, 2018.
Mm,
Actually came in the US 2019, not
mm.
2019. So I applied for 2018 in 2018. And then I worked
And
for a
then
few months, and then I just
yeah.
got
Oh, okay,
yeah.
interesting.
Looking back, would you say you've regretted taking the step?
The step to
I
apply.
mean, with a partial scholarship and everything, would you say that maybe you should have taken your time, understand the what it means to get a full scholarship before coming?
Not at all. I don't think I regret
Shout
anything.
out, shout out to your uncle then.
Shout out. I don't know if I should say his name, but yes, Uncle, thank you so much. But I know people, I have family or friends who've sat down and be like, oh, let me think about this. Let me think about this. Oh. And then now, especially the current administration, things are now on lockdown, or things are now slower, or things are now very hard. So yeah, don't think too much. Just go and see if this is for you. That's what I would say.
All right. So if you are to apply again, what will you do differently?
If I was to apply again,
All the way from Kenya, if you were supposed to restart the whole process, if there's this little girl in Mombasa listening to you, want to be like Yvette, what would you have done differently?
I would say, so like I said, very faith-based, right? And everything just happens because I'm like, if it's God's will, it's going to happen. So I haven't really sat down and be like, I would have done this differently, because like I feel like my story with what has transpired. There's so like outside forces that are like urging me on. So with every step that I've gone to, it's just been amazing. I wouldn't say that I would do things differently, but maybe I would just expand my horizon
Okay.
more. Like instead of just applying to OSU only, I feel like I would probably have applied to OSU, OU, other schools and see which one, if I get the admissions, like which one is better, and then just try and sift through. Because even living in faith is not easy. It's not,
Interesting.
not easy. Yeah.
All right. If you're just tuning in, we have been speaking to Yvette. Yvette has a bachelor's degree from Kenya, relocated to Ohio University in Athens, Ohio, now studying, had a second master's in Ohio State University in Columbus, and currently pursuing a PhD at Ohio State University. She's sharing her journey, her experience with us so that it will guide you who wants to go through the process. So remember, you can send us your questions in the comment section. We'll be reading them and be responding to them as well. Be part of the conversation. Click on the like button, subscribe, and be part of the family. This every week, we host the Steady Abroad podcast, and it's been insightful so far. All right, so a couple of people have questions for you in the comment. Let's see if we can read some of them and respond to them. But are there people you want to say thank you to, apart from your uncle? Obviously, people who have helped you on the journey. You've been mentioning your mom. You spoke about your dad, your uncle. Are there people you want to say thank you to that held your hands in one way or the other whilst you worked on this process?
First of all, shout out to God.
Yeah.
God. Yeah. Even in the waiting, yeah. But of course, my parents, my uncle, definitely. I think I had written them down. Thomas Smacker, remember?
Yeah,
Dr.
man. Shout
Smacker?
out to Thomas Smucker.
Yes.
That's an
Yes.
amazing man, by the way.
Yes, he helped me a lot with my statement of purpose.
Oh,
I
wow.
when I was applying to OC, he came and told me, Yvette, I don't think this is gonna get you somewhere. I will help you. And then he helped me. Um, I had written them somewhere.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. As Thomas Smucker, he has been amazing. Is he still in OU?
I guess. Hmm.
Okay. 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 All
Yes, I
right.
think he is.
Yeah.
So
So if you're applying to the geography department in Ohio University, you probably might have, seen his face or anything like that on the university's website. Thomas Mark, an amazing man, and he love African people though.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very African
He's
people.
married to a Kenyan
Yeah,
too.
shout out to Dr. Edna. She
Yeah.
was my professor
Mm-hmm.
when I had the TA position as well. All
Yeah.
right.
So yeah, I wanted to say shout out to my siblings, of course, my parents, my uncle, community. Because in Africa, you're a child of the people. So I think we have my parents,
Yeah.
friends. They're also my parents in some way,
Yeah.
and I'm a first child, so I'm a
Oh,
first
okay.
firstborn, and I feel like I'm the child of the community. So my community members definitely. Um, yeah, even here in Columbus, I have my uncle's sister who also supported me financially in terms of like both of them also supported me financially when I came to
Right.
the US. So yeah, shout out to all of them.
Have you been back home?
Oh yeah, I
Oh,
tend
okay.
to go almost every year.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
I see. Right. I was going to ask you what was difficult for you to get used to when you arrived. Like, was it the food, the accent, the snow, the cold? What
Hmm.
was difficult to get used to?
The system. The system. I would say the system here because you know how in Africa, I don't know, things are just things are different. Let me say in Kenya.
In Kenya or in Africa?
In Kenya. In Kenya, things are kind of, I don't know. So I feel like I piggybacked a lot on my dad. It was like, oh, dad, this, dad, that, dad, let's do. Then coming to America, it's like you have to find for yourself, make your own path. So the system, even from getting the bus, I took a whole lot of time to learn the bus system. Yeah, so for the first 2 weeks, I was just like, this is hard. This is so hard. But I got used to it. So I would say the system. The weather, not too much, because I wanted to see the snow. I wanted to see snow. I was so happy when I first saw. And the accent also was a bit. I remember the one thing that was annoying me. So when Americans speak, I was like, are they even stopping to breathe? So for example, if I say how Americans is, let me just try and be like, oh, so we went to the shop and we went to Walmart and then we bought this and then that and then I got to meet so and then it's just like this and the blah, blah, blah. And it's like they're holding their breath. In my mind, I'm like, please stop and breathe because I speak slower.
Because I'm a Kenyan, I speak slower. So
Yes.
yeah, that's one thing I like about, like, I like the way you take your time. You're not in a rush. Like, you take the words one after the other. Okay, Fred, so let's do this and we see that. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're really patient, and I appreciate that. Shout out to Bernard again. Walumbi.
Oh, Bernard. Yeah.
Anyway, so Ben, you want to come in?
Yeah, just a quick one.
Mm.
Mhm.
So, can we maybe just in 30 seconds compare US education to Kenya?
Okay. I feel like in Kenya, things were a little bit hard because everything depended on final exams and you passing the exams. The US, it's like progress, the amount of progress you make every week or, midterm or, so I feel like in Kenya it was harder for me because I'll have to like sift through or sit down and read a whole term's or a whole semester's information for just one exam. And for things that I am really good at, probably they're not in the exams. But here in the US, I'm like, if I read this, I know this is what I will get, or this is the kind of information I'm getting. So it's very information based or growing your knowledge based. So yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So, so far so good.
Hmm.
Do you think it's worth it for being in the States?
Oh, 100%. Yes. It changes your life for the better, changes your community's life for the better, So yes, if you get a chance, definitely it is worth it.
Okay, so if you had not been in the US,
Hmm.
what would have happened?
I was planning to study Chinese language, Mandarin. Yes,
In Kenya or go to
in
China?
Kenya, in
Oh,
Kenya, because I did civil engineering and I was working in a construction company. It wasn't really construction, but it used to deal with structures. And
yeah.
that time there's a lot of Chinese constructors
Okay.
contractors in Kenya. So I said I actually started even looking for classes. So if it didn't work, especially because I got the weight, I was like, they can deny me, right? So in as much as I'm really dependent on like really focusing on getting this visa approved,
Mhm.
I will look for option B. So
Oh, okay.
I looked for classes for Mandarin because I wanted to be, conversant in the space, the construction space or the structural space.
Interesting. Fred, is it possible to get at least one Kenyan to come alive to
Yeah,
ask?
let's see. If you're Kenyan, you can put in the request. Let's see if we can get you on. Talk to we have a lot of subscribers from Kenya, but actually I don't know how many Kenyans are watching us at the moment. If you're a Kenyan, let us know in the comment section. And if you can request, we can bring you on. Come talk some Swahili with Yvette. Yeah. All right. Let's see. We have a lot of questions in the chat. We'll be responding to some of them as well. So if you were supposed to, how is the class system in Kenya like? Is it like a first class, second class? How is it the CGPA system? How is the grading system like?
The grading system?
Yeah, is it like a CGPA of a 4.0 or 5.0?
No, it's like I don't think they use GPA because I had
CWA,
no
like cumulative.
yeah, I think it's cumulative because it's based on like first class,
Oh, okay.
second class, and they have points for that.
Oh,
Second
I
class
see.
or but I had to calculate my, translate calculate my GPA when I was in OU applying for OSU.
Mm, mm.
So yeah.
Lai is asking you, ask her if she's able to get Kenyan food in the US and how she got adjusted to the food in the US.
So there's not a whole lot of Kenyan food, I would say. It's more of like you can go to the store and get, ingredients or food to cook, but it's more of like East African. So it's like
Yeah.
a mixture of like Tanzanian, Swahili food. So we call it Swahili food.
Mhm.
So yes, there's a restaurant here in Columbus. It's very, cooks a lot of Swahili food, which I'm used to. And I won't say that it was hard for me to adjust to the food here because in Kenya we eat a lot of what Americans eat. If it's
Okay.
we don't have like how in in West Africa, like the specific foods that they're from West Africa.
Yeah.
In Kenya of course we have pilau, chapati. Those are things that are we can be able to get them from any shops.
Hi, Jackson. How you doing? Your microphone is muted. If you could unmute it. Yvette, does his name suggest he's from Kenya?
Jackson Yawenda?
Yeah,
Mm,
maybe, right?
maybe, yeah.
Let's figure out. Hi, Jackson. Your microphone is muted. Can you please unmute it? Okay, Jackson cannot unmute.
Yeah.
Yes, hello, Fred. Yes, hello, Fred.
Jackson,
Are you able to hear me?
Am I able to hear you? Are you from Kenya?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not from Kenya. I'm a Burundian refugee living in Kenya, but
Okay.
I've studied in Kenya from class 5 up to Form 4. I'm now pursuing university at Masinde Muliro University. I think Yvette knows that Masinde Muliro University is
Yes.
one of the national university in Kenya, and I was lucky apply for one of the university in the United States of America. As I have spoken to you, Fred, about it, is about KSU, uh, Kent State University, where I got admission this year, but it was not full funded. It was not funded until today. I'm looking for it because we are refugee here in Kenya. Getting a passport is very hard for me. But I applied just last year. I applied my passport last week, and I am supposed to attend the school in for 2025. So I need your advice and advice from Yvette because I think he was experienced such issues here in Kenya because we are refugees here in Kenya, and yeah, I'm eager to learn more and to know more about it. Yeah.
Any advice for him, Yvette?
Yeah, first of all, it's shout out to you. I hope your situation living in Kenya is better, and I feel like you should just be patient, but keep emailing these faculty members. I feel like if you build your network, if you keep on networking with them, it would be very helpful because one professor may say, I don't have funding, but they can also, talk to another professor or tell you about another professor who you can, email or connect with. So just keep on disturbing them. I would say don't stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Jackson, what program is
Yeah,
it?
I have. Yeah, it is computer science.
Okay. So what happens is that for Kent State, you have to activate what we call the Flash ID. Have you done that?
Yeah, I have it already. They have given me a portal,
Good.
and I used to access it now.
Good. If you've been able to activate your Flash ID, you'll be able to create an account on the website which is used to search for jobs on campus. Are you there with
Yeah,
me?
yeah. But
Yeah.
the problem is I am an undergrad. I'm an undergraduate. I have not
Oh,
graduated yet.
oh, not
Yeah,
a graduate student. Oh, okay. So
yeah,
what
yeah.
you have
That
what you
that's
have to
somehow hard.
what you have to understand is that when it comes to undergraduate studies, you need to have a good SAT score or ACT score for the school to take care of everything. Initially, I thought it was even like graduate studies. Okay, so if it's an undergraduate, then did you sit for the SAT?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Okay,
I think if I
so
was
if
given admission, there, I was given some scholarship, but not for. I was given 4,600 per year. That is a very less amount.
Yeah, so that's how most of the undergraduate admissions work. For you to have the school to pay for everything, you should have a good SAT score or ACT score. So if you can get the financial means to be able to secure your I-20 and go through the visa process, please do that. You just mentioned that you applied for your visa, and if you've secured your I-20, awesome. Go through the visa interview. But mostly for undergraduate, that's how it works. Like you have a good SAT score or ACT score that will help you with a scholarship. Thank you for tuning in, Jackson from Kenya. Martin, how you doing?
Yes, I'm doing good, and you?
Yeah, Martin, talk to Yvette.
Please, I am in Ghana and I have diploma in nursing. I want to do masters at the same time, and I'm asking if I can do it straight away without going to have the degree with the
Is it a
diploma.
is it a 3-year diploma or a 2-year diploma?
Yes, it's a 3 year diploma in nursing.
Okay. Do you mind sharing your CGPA?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay, so what happens is that with a 3-year qualification, it means that you have 6 semesters of transcript. Remember, you're going to compete with people with 4 years or 8 semesters of transcript. So the simple answer is that yes, it's possible. However, you need to put in extra effort. So if you could evaluate your transcript, you do not also have to limit yourself to only masters in nursing. You can have public health, gerontology, healthcare administration, and even masters in nursing itself. So yes, you can apply, but not every university would accept a 3-year qualification for a master's degree. So make sure that you're emailing the HOD of the department, share a copy of your transcript and CV or resume so that they understand what your qualification is and they will let you know whether you qualify to apply or not.
Okay.
All right, nice talking to you. So Yvette, there are a lot of people who would want to come on, but yeah, it's been a great conversation. It's been over an hour. I really appreciate your time. Final words from Ben and yourself, and then we bring it to a close.
Yeah, I would say we can link on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
definitely. My LinkedIn is Yvette Onyango. Just type in Yvette Onyango and I'll be there and we can talk more. If you guys have more questions or if you want more clarifications, just find me on LinkedIn. Instagram is, that's social media, but business things, very important things, official things, LinkedIn. And I also have a CBO that I'm starting in rural Kenya. It's called Ecorise. We're almost launching. So I would just say if you put what you're doing for a good cause, for it might be community, it might be helping other people in different ways, but align your goals with helping, like how Fred affects the team. Like I really appreciate you guys, and I remember you were having this dream. Remember in TFF when you were just like
Yeah.
meeting and talking, you
Yeah.
had this, you had this ambition, and I'm so glad. Like I'm looking at you right now, and it's amazing the type of community that you've brought together.
I appreciate it.
So if you put your course into something good, I know there's gonna be a lot of opportunities that are going to open for you. So that's gonna be my parting shot.
All right. I really appreciate your time. You're a busy person, but you made time to talk to us and inspire our brothers and sisters who want to do this. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So that was Yvette. Ben, what was your final words? And we close it for
Yeah,
today.
I just, for the sake of those who missed maybe when we started, I just want to highlight some of the few points I jotted during our conversation with Yvette. And one key thing we should note here is passion, because from our discussion with her, we realized that passion plays a crucial role in whatever we do. And Yvette also indicated that having faith is very, very important. So throughout her process, faith has really guided her, and she just believed that things is going to work out for her, to the extent that through faith, she applied to just one university during her master's and it worked, one university during her PhD and it worked. So faith is very, very important that we can take it out. And this sums to the God factor we at times try to mention. So if you believe in God, fine. Just try as much as possible to have faith, and it's going to work for you. And she also mentioned support. So please, to the mothers and uncles listening to us, if in any capacity we can help our siblings, we can help our younger brothers to go and study abroad, don't let us deny them of that help. And then we should also, as students who have passion to study abroad, we should be open-minded. We should try as much as possible to expand our search zone and try to send a lot of mails. It works. And finally, we need to note that delay is not denial. So maybe you've put in a lot of effort, you've not received the outcome you want. Just wait, and we know that at the right time, you also pass through successfully. Thank you all for tuning into the Freddy Fed.
Right. Just put in the effort and at the right time, it will pay off. It's been a great session. My co-host will obviously always be Ben, and thank you for tuning in. So Ben is a huge component of the Fred Effect team and will be co-hosting the podcast from time to time. Or Ben will be hosting, from time to time as well. So that's it.
Yeah. Let me quickly put say this. Very soon, Fred will be on the hot seat, so they should watch out for that day.
I'll be interviewed by Ben very
Yeah.
soon in the section. Awesome, Ben. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
I
you,
really
Fred.
appreciate
Also,
it.
all right.
Right, it's been a great session. Remember, the Fred Effect team has a collaboration with Argo Visa. Argo Visa is a team of former visa officers. These are people who have been, working for the U.S. government, approving and denying visas. Now they are consultants and they help you pass your visa interview. If you use the link I'm sharing on the screen, you can schedule a one-on-one section with the Argo Visa team, and they will guide you, go through your DS 160, your DS 260, prepare a one-on-one mock session with you before you go for your visa interview. It makes you confident and very prepared before you go for your interview. So use the link I'm sharing on the screen to schedule a one-on-one session with Argo Visa. Please be positive. Know that this process, people have already done it. Whatever is happening now, it's not new. Even the COVID era, people use nose mask and they went for the interview. So whatever is happening is not new. Be positive about what you're working on. You've invested time, effort, and emotions into this process. Trust God that whatever you are planting will bear fruit and it will be successful. My name has been The Fred Effect. This is the Steady Abroad podcast. I'll see you next week. Be positive. Everything will be fine.